Hi friends, welcome to this video. Today we'll be going to discuss about element 2 part 2 questions and answers. This will be the last part from the element 2. So I have tried to include all important questions in this part itself. And unfortunately I don't have the soft copy available with me. So I would recommend all of you to just go through the video and write down the questions and answers and memorize it to prepare for the exam. Best of luck. Our first question will be, how policy influence decision making within the organization? So we'll be seeing what all main points you can write. Also, one more thing, most of the guys, they used to ask me on email if they will study only these questions or if they write the answers mentioned here, is it possible for them to pass the exam? So I will recommend them to include more points when they learn the questions or the concepts, because if you learn and memorize properly, then only you can write the recommended points or the concerned points in the exam. So it is very important you try to memorize these points properly and include more points for the questions like explain and all. So it will be advisable to memorize these points properly before you write the exam. So we will see the answer for our question. Senior management have to decide what kind of health and safety standards they are committing the organization to, and will have to allocate the resources accordingly. So the policy here influence the decision making within the organization. Similarly, the other managers, they have to ensure that their decision making is in line with the policy and does not work against the organization's stated aims and objectives. So these all are the reasons which clearly shows the policy can influence the decision making within the organizations. So the responsibilities of the senior management and other managements to make sure that they are working in line with the policies. All these criteria clearly shows how policy can influence the decision making within the organization. Now we will see the second question. What are the three key parts of a health and safety policy? So very simple. The general statement of intent, which shows the aims and objectives. The second is organization section, where it shows the chain of roles and responsibilities. And the third is arrangement section, the arrangement for the effective health and safety management system. So the detail about all the key parts are already discussed in our notes, which we have already posted in the our channel. Now the third question is, define a health and safety policy. So what is health and safety policy? Health and safety policy of an organization is an important document that sets out the organization's aim with regard to the health and safety, who is responsible for achieving these aims, and how the aims are to be achieved. So the best way to remember this answer is, you have to think about an organization's aim, the responsible person, and how to achieve this aim. So this completely will define a health and safety policy. And the fourth question is, when is management system standards like ILO, OSH 2001, ISO 45001 need to be reviewed in an organization? So the answer will be the starting out phase. If you are going to start out any new branch, any new divisions, anything new, if you are going to start out, again it need to be reviewed. Then developing a new process, product or service. The third one will be implementing any changes in the existing parameters. Now the fifth question is, what are the benefits of having an ISO certification? So the first will be the internal benefits. Internal benefits means like it will be useful for your internal audits. You can show it to your partners, your sponsors, to show that you are following the quality, you are keeping the quality in your company. Similarly, to show the clients and your customers, which will be a big reference for your business outputs. The third will be for the business benefits. Again, it is always good to know or good to work with companies who have an ISO certifications with them. So it will benefit you in various ways of having an ISO certification for your organization. Now we will be seeing the sixth question. What does a safety organization chart show? So a safety organization chart shows the hierarchy of roles and responsibilities for health and safety within the organization. So roles and responsibilities of persons are clearly mentioned in this chart. The second, you can write the lines of accountability between them. Lines of accountability means what is the purpose of each divisions, how they are interconnected. All this informations will be very clear from the organization chart show. Third, it should show the position of health and safety practitioners and other competent people who advise the organization. Also, it shows the or any committees or the staff forums which are available in the organization. So to whom this safety organization chart show is very useful? So mainly the clients. If your company is working for a client, so in that case the client will be checking your organization chart show to understand how is your organization structured, how is your HSE effective. So all these informations the client will be getting from the organization chart show. Now we will see the seventh question. What need to be considered when setting health and safety objectives? So the answer will be who is going to set the objectives. That is very important. The level of competent, is he from the management side? So who is going to set the objective is very important. Similarly, how objectives will be set at each functional level, how what all steps will be taken to make sure that all objectives are properly taken care in each different functional level. So that is very important. Similarly, you have to consider all the legal and other requirements. Similarly, hazards and risks which are available there, all the technological options, what all technology you have. Similarly, the financial, operational and business requirements you have to consider. Views of interested parties, it has to be considered when setting a health and safety policies. So the eighth question is, why improve the safety culture of the organization is not a SMART objective? So it is not a SMART objective. Why? Because it is not specific. There is no specific time, or there is no specific steps which you can take to improve. There is no surety. Similarly, does not have a precise target. You can't set a precise target to make sure that you have improved it, right? Similarly, it is not easily measurable. You can't measure it, and also it doesn't have a deadline. There is no particular deadline or time to prove that it is improved. So that is the reason improving the safety culture of the organization is not considered to be a SMART objective, because we know what is SMART. So all these criteria are not followed in this case. Now we will see the ninth question. What is SMART objectives? What is SMART? So SMART you can define as specific, a clearly defined aim will be there, measurable, which has possible to measure, the achievable, it can be achieved by someone, the reasonable, similarly the time bound with a proper deadline and time scale is set. So this is the SMART objectives. Now we will see define benchmarking. So what is benchmarking? Benchmarking is the process of comparing the health and safety performance of one organization with the other similar organization or with the past performance. Benchmarking is done not only in case of health and safety, but you can do the benchmarking considering the other parameters also. You can also set the benchmarking for production also. So what exactly we do in benchmarking is we will be comparing our health and safety standards or our productions with other companies. So you will be setting a target and you will try to achieve that target. So this is the process of benchmarking. Now the next question is, why it is important for an organization to set health and safety targets? So it is important because it gives the evidence of management commitment. It shows management is committed to maintaining the health and safety parameters, to maintain health and safety targets in a company. It shows top management commitment. You can write to motivate staff by providing them with something tangible to aim for. So setting the targets, it shows, it motivates your company staffs to achieve something for the hard work which they do for the company. So using health and safety targets, it will provide a tangible aim to your staff. The third is the important part. They can play in facilitating the measurement and review of performance and for benchmarking against other like organizations by setting the health and safety targets. Now the next question is, which is very important, list health and safety targets that an organization could set. So we will be seeing the targets that an organization could set, such as a reduction in the number of accidents and defined incidents, an improvement in the reporting of near miss incidents or minor accidents and inspection and audit scores. Similarly, you can write a reduction in actions taken by the enforcement authorities and in the number of civil claims, a reduction in sickness, absence and absenteeism, an improvement in the outcome of benchmarking of performance against like all the organizations, a reduction in insurance cost. Similarly, last, an increase in the degree of worker involvement and additionally in the number of workers trained in the health and safety. So these are the health and safety targets which your organization could set. Now the next question is, what are the circumstances that may require a health and safety policy to be reviewed? So we will see what all circumstances we can write. Circumstances which require a health and safety policy to be reviewed, such as significant changes in the structure of the organization or the changes in premises. Second, after the introduction of new or changed processes or work methods. Third, following changes in key personnel in your company or the organization. Similarly, following the changes in any legislation or the laws where the organization is situated. You can write where audits, risk assessments, monitoring exercises or accident investigations show that the policy is no longer effective. In that case, you may require a health and safety policy to be reviewed. Also, as a result of consultation with the workforce, if you feels like there is a change in health and safety policy to be done, then in that case you must require a health and safety policy to be reviewed immediately. Similarly, last but not least, following enforcement actions and after a sufficient period of time has elapsed since the previous review to suggest that another one is due. So in this all cases you must require a health and safety policy to be reviewed. Another question is, give reasons why the health and safety policy should be signed by the most senior person in an organization such as MD or CEO. It's a very important question and most of the time in exams you can expect this question. So you can write the answer as signature of the most senior person in the organization would demonstrate management commitment. Next, it will give authority to the policy or that the person concerned ultimately had responsibility for health and safety in the organization. In short, it means that the signature of the most senior persons means it is a commitment from the top, and it also shows that if the MD and CEO is signing it, it means this policy got the authority and it will be the ultimate responsibility of the MD and CEO to approve this. As you know, in an organization, the top management is responsible for all actions. So if something is signed by the MD and CEO means it is the ultimate responsibility which you can say for the health and safety in the organization. Now the 15th question is, why an organization should review its health and safety performance? Why shall they review health and safety performance? So the answer is to identify substandard health and safety practices and conditions. So if you continuously check and review the performance, health and safety performance, you can find out the substandard and unhealthy practices which is going on in your company or in your organization. The second, to identify trends in relation to different types of incident or incidents in general by analysis of relevant incident data. So you know there will be a trend in case of different incidents and accidents which happens in your company. So if you review your health and safety performance continuously, you can identify these trends. What are the factors? Why these trends are more? And what is the reason for these trends? Like you can compare the accidents, previous year's accidents with the current year's accidents. So identify these trends will help you to improve your health and safety performance. Also, you can say to compare the actual performance with previously set targets. Also, to benchmark the organization's performance against that of similar organizations or an industry norm. To identify whether control measures are in use and to assess their effectiveness. Then you can write to be able to make decisions on appropriate remedial measures for any deficiencies identified, to set priorities and establish realistic timescales, to assess compliance with legal requirements are there or not, to be able to provide a board of directors or safety committee with relevant informations. Then you can say to boost morale and motivate the workforce, it is very important to review health and safety performance. Ultimately, because monitoring and review is a vital component of any safety management system, it is a must to review your health and safety performance in an organization. Last, it is essential if the system is externally accredited and audited by a specific body. Now the 16th question is, list the various methods for communicating the contents of a health and safety policy to a workforce. So how can you communicate your contents of a health and safety policy to a workforce in an effective way? So the methods include giving employees their own personal copy of the policy or a summary of it, displaying the policy on notice boards. You can explain the content of the policy at team briefings or toolbox talks and during the induction or refresher training courses. Then referring to the policy in internal newsletters, booklets, emails and internet communications. Making the policy an agenda item at the meetings of the Health and Safety Committee. Now the next question is, explain the circumstances under which an employer must form a Health and Safety Committee. So the answer will be, the employer is required by a law to form a health and safety committee when requested in writing by 2 or more trade union appointed safety representatives. So if 2 or more trade union appointed safety representatives are there and if they request, then in that condition the employer must form a health and safety committee so that they can discuss about all the welfares, all the safety related issues with these representatives and the workforce. Now the next question, give reasons why a health and safety committee may be ineffective. Very important question which you can expect for the exam. A range of reasons include an uneven balance in management and employee representation. If there is no proper coordination between the management and the employee representative, then it will be ineffective. Health and safety committee will be ineffective. A general lack of commitment by management and or employee representatives. If there is a lack of total commitment from both the sides, again it will be ineffective. Then we have poor chairmanship, then no published agenda or minutes, the infrequency or cancellation of meetings, the unsuitability of the topics which are discussed. If the relevant topics are not discussed, again it will be an ineffective. No health and safety expertise available, again it will be make health and safety committee ineffective in nature. Yeah, and also the last point, no access by the committee to decision making process. If the committee doesn't have any power in decision making process, then again this health and safety committee will be ineffective. And the last question is, explain the issues that are typically included in the arrangement section of health and safety. So the issues which are typically included in the arrangement section of the health and safety policies are systems of work, health and safety training, provision of protective equipment, similarly specific types of hazards, for example machinery, hazardous substances, manual handling, fire, etc. Control of contractors, safety of visitors, accident reporting and investigation procedures, first aid facilities, then emergency procedures, and finally the employee consultation.